Okay, go ahead.
We're back, Mitches and Mitchettes. Freeze, mother bitchers. Juggernaut bitch coming back.
Come on.
So, this is our, I guess, final segment in terms of individual companies, gaming-wise, and we're touching on Nintendo. Now, the only reason why I'm treading lightly because I am still on my position with the semi-Nintendo boycott that Nelson and I have imposed on this channel because of their practices. But being that is, E3, I'm gonna kind of, hover over it, but not giving too much, coverage to them. But
gotta watch out, man. If we speak about Nintendo, they might come for your money.
yeah, they're gonna be like, "What you got in your crib?" type stuff. But
they going Debo, you like what you got on my 40?
I'm ruining the podcast. I put a Nintendo product on the screen.
It's okay. But Nintendo E3 predictions, and I'm gonna start with Demizzle from Free Play Mode. What are your predictions for Nintendo this year?
Nintendo has to come really, really high, because their console it's not
all but dead.
It's like, how can I put this nicely? They're being outsold by a dead console that has been dead for about 15 years now. They haven't sold more consoles than the Sega Dreamcast. That's how bad they're doing. So
Dreamcast was a shit.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So Nintendo needs to come really, really high, and I think what we're going to see from Nintendo is we're going to see some gameplay footage of the new Zelda, but that's been pushed back to 2016 because I think that they're pushing it back so they can release it on the Nintendo NX like they did with Twilight Princess with the GameCube and Nintendo Wii release. So I think we're going to see footage, but it's going to be, they already said that they pushed it back to 2016. I also think we're going to see yet another Mario game. We're going to see...
Oh, that's a given.
Of course, man. New Mario games are as predictable as a dude coming. That's nothing new.
What the heck? What? Hold on.
He knows all about that, doesn't he?
Unbelievable. Hey, you know what? We needed that. That's.
But
you needed that. I didn't need
no,
that.
I mean in terms of a joke.
Well, Alex gets it on a nightly basis, so he's used to it.
But that's Nintendo in a nutshell. It's like, Mario, Mario.
Unbelievable.
But that's what Nintendo does. We're gonna see a lot of first-party games. We're gonna get excuses why they don't have third-party games as usual. We're gonna get Reggie Fils-Aimé doing something stupid and pimping a first-party game. We're gonna get the head of Nintendo, Shigeru Miyamoto, talking in broken English about how good Nintendo is. We're gonna see the same typical Nintendo stuff. I don't think we're gonna see anything special from Nintendo.
Now, for this topic, I'm going to my Nintendo experts, and then once they're done, then anybody that wants to chime in. This way, I'm not putting anyone on the spot that just don't follow Nintendo like that. But I'm gonna give Anya Nice the floor, and I want to know what are your predictions for Nintendo, since I know you're of the group. You and Goku86. Once he gets into his apartment, he'll be back on the podcast. But I mean, you really back Nintendo. Hell, you got me into, kind of back into the fold when we used to play when you were in town. You know what I mean? So, I mean, what do you think Nintendo has to give? I mean, considering
They
that...
got nothing to give. That's the problem.
Hey.
They're surviving solely on first-party games, which is not how you move consoles.
I'm surprised they've been around this long on just first-party support.
Well, the Wii killed. That's why. The Wii sold a shit ton of units, because it was different. It sold a shit ton of units because it was different, it was cheap. They sold to a lot of non-gamers. That's how they made it buy.
Mm-hmm.
You'll probably see some stuff from the English release of X2, which is out. I haven't been following that lately, but I think it's still out in the fall. It's already out in Japan. Splatoon's already out. They were pushing that game kind of big, but other than that,
I know they messed up with Splatoon. With I think they took out the voice chat because of oh, we don't want anybody being harassed like that
Well,
dude talking about trolling that kid who said he was Chinese and he's like, let me do your. You know what I'm talking about.
This is possibly the one time I'm gonna stick up for Nintendo, and that they actually did something right.
Welcome.
Splatoon is actually a very good game for what it is. I like to play it, even though I don't own a Nintendo Wii. A couple of my friends own Wii U's, and I've played Splatoon on it, and it's a very fun game. It's not up to par.
It would have been better with voice support, though.
It really doesn't need it once you play it.
Okay. But it kind of, like the Xbox guys, the PlayStation guys, PC guys, that's standard for those types of games.
See,
right.
but for PlayStation 4 and Xbox One shooters, you kind of need voice support
to communicate.
To communicate, but you don't need that with the Wii U because Splatoon uses the second screen on the pad in a way that you can coordinate on the pad with your teammates and see what your teammates are doing. So you really don't need that much voice contact with your teammates because you can see what they're doing already. So it's a big deal. It was made a big deal, but it's actually nothing in practice.
All right.
Look at all this stuff to push it off my Wii U thing. I haven't used it in that long.
Hey man, I still use mine.
But yeah, it's the thing I'm looking most forward to is seeing some English voice work for X2, which I'm hoping they have some sample of it for E3, because that's the reason I bought the console, was just for that one game.
You're part of the few that would get a console for one game. I mean, hell.
Well, I figured there'd be other games. I figured there'd be a Zelda, a Metroid maybe, which I don't think is going to happen on this console.
Yeah, that's a maybe prediction for me. I'm pretty sure.
Or they'll give it the Team. Was it Team Ninja again? Which did that was nowhere near as good as the other ones.
Another M.
Yeah, that one was lame. It's like, really now?
Hey,
they had Team Ninja. Considering that people were like, oh, these are the guys that did Ninja Gaiden. Oh, this is gonna be freaking awesome. And then look what happened.
I was honestly surprised when there wasn't more titties in that game.
Unbelievable. Well, it was Nintendo they were working with. Nintendo censored the hell out of it. But with that, for the sake of time, Nelson, any predictions for Nintendo for this year's E3?
Nintendo is just gonna release the same old shit, so there's really no predictions to be made, to be honest with you. We already got Mario last time. We already got Zelda last time. They didn't release Metroid. They didn't release Star Fox.
The next Star Fox is coming out.
Okay, but I don't give a shit about Star Fox no more. Nor do I give a shit about Metroid. Nor do I give a shit about Nintendo, period.
How you gonna diss Metroid, homie? My feelings are right now.
I don't give a shit because one is the same thing. Like, I played it too many times. It can't. Alright, look. I'll put it like this. Look, no, I was just about to mention that. They came out with more re-releases of titles than fucking Capcom has ever released Street Fighter.
I know.
That shit is annoying, dude.
That
shit is annoying, dude.
How many versions of 2 and Alpha and 3 and 4 were there? Come on. There's at least 4 versions of each one. Don't give me that.
Okay, so then how many goddamn Mario games did they goddamn re-release?
Mario's different. I'm talking about Metroid. You said Metroid first.
Well, I'm talking about Nintendo in general. I'm talking about Nintendo in general.
Oh man, the panel just so Nintendo.
I will say this. The only thing I want to know, and I am curious about, is their new NX console. That's it. I just want to know what the fuck it is.
Here's the thing. They can't show anything on NX right now because for the games that are still in development for Wii U, right? And the things that they're trying to hope to sell, Mario Maker, Yoshi's World or whatever, Xenoblade Chronicle X, Star Fox. The little that they have, they don't want to, unless they go ahead and say, hey, cease all this. Hopefully it's not so far in development that they can't turn back to port it to the NX. You know what I mean? But it's just like, man,
coming right.
I doubt that, if Nintendo is stupid enough to show the NX at E3 or their Wii channel or Nintendo Direct, that pretty much puts the nail in the coffin for the Wii U. That's it.
I don't think they're going to announce anything at NX until it's almost done.
Okay.
I think that's what they're going to do.
I think they're a lot further along than we're led to believe. But don't be fooled.
If there's reverse compatibility, that point is no longer an issue. Because you can just boot those games. Because
Nintendo has always been good with that. You know what I mean?
Ever since the GameCube, they've always been that way.
That's the one thing with Nintendo I'm envious of. They consistently keep that catalog of their games accessible regardless of what system you're playing.
Yeah, the reason why they do that because they know their future consoles suck, so they always try to bring back the old fan base with their old games. Fucking Nintendo, stupid practices.
Well, damn.
Tell me how you really feel.
I see Nintendo going the way of Sega. I can't. NX, JX, QX, DX. I don't give a fuck.
PX? What the heck? From you mean the PX by the defact? Unbelievable.
No.
All right.
I can't do. I'm sorry. I can't. Nintendo. I'm sorry. I just. I'm just not into you no more, Nintendo. I'm sorry.
Nintendo is all about Animal Crossing, Fire Emblem, Pokemon, all that. It's just.
Well, see, their mobile market as like their handheld, that's fine. I don't care what they do with that because they're like destroying the market when it comes to that. Okay.
And you know what? My sister has a DS. She don't even play it. She plays the Street Fighter.
She has a PS1.
What?
That was mad left field. How we go from Nintendo to PS1?
No, the DS. She has Street Fighter, a Super Street Fighter for it, and she barely plays it. You know, like I don't know, man. And Nintendo just lost their focus has changed, and their original fan base, like people like myself, Hackman, most of us have. I said. Oh, Shin Pac-Man? Oh. Okay, that's cool. That's a new one. He did that live, too.
So, Nintendo has to really do something for me in order for me to be like, oh, that's actually cool. But you guys are very scared of taking third-party companies because you're afraid that your franchise or whatever will just fucking crumble.
Actually, I disagree. I think, Nelson, the problem was, and Mercury Steam even put Nintendo on blast, Nintendo refuses to make a console for the companies to see their vision. They're always underpowered. They're never putting out something where they can just and that's why Lords of Shadow didn't come out on the Wii U. You know what I mean? Because David Cox, haha. I know the jokes are coming.
What? The representative Cox cable, Alex.
And you know what? And on your knees looks like that guy. If you look up David Cox.
Alex, why you gotta be racist like that, thinking all white people look alike?
No, I swear, man.
I just said you're
fucking racist.
He said that if the Wii U had a little more power, that'd be one thing. And plus, they had issues with their resources. It's like, man, we gotta make the little touch screen work and do this and that. And it was funny. You had Mirror of Fate that was on the DS exclusive, and then you saw how it flipped around and you had the HD version because they couldn't solely make their money back off of that platform alone. Arc Systems is finding out with Guilty Gear Xrd and how shitty it sold on the PlayStation 4, being that it's a small market for Guilty Gear. And then you keep it exclusive to one, at least expand it out, And
but the thing is, it's not gonna do any justice, even if it did get expanded. The community for BlazBlue, or I should say, anime games, is not gonna be as big. Period. Like,
no, I get it, I get it, but it wouldn't have been as bad. You know what I mean?
But it
no, it's from this is me looking out for those companies. Hey, it's whatever.
I mean, if they want to shoot themselves in the fucking foot and not make money, they hate money. Go fuck you. That's it. Who gives a shit? I guess all you companies, just like Nintendo, who fucking hates money and doesn't want to bring on, like, Activision, Ubisoft, and all those other good companies to get them, like, instant money. Well, I guess whatever, Nintendo, go fuck yourself, because you hate money.
Damn.
Okay,
I'm gonna chime in right quick. The problem with Nintendo is that the same people are in charge now.
From the 80s.
Yeah, from when they first got into the video gaming industry in the 1970s. They're still using the same...
1985.
No, they got into the gaming industry in the mid-70s. They actually had a Pong machine. So
yeah, because they were doing card games before. And then they switched over to digital entertainment.
And yeah, they came with the Game & Watch stuff, and then they came with the Nintendo Entertainment System. Well, the Famicom in 1983. Mm-hmm. But that's the problem. Like, the same people that are in charge now are the same people that are in charge then, and they don't recognize what the market is. They still think that our generation that grew up with Nintendo, the people that are playing video games now are of the same mindset. The difference between us as kids and kids today is that we grew up in we're essentially the first generation to grow up in the technological age. So we didn't have anything to compare it to. Like, everything that came out was essentially, oh, this is great. This is excellent. Like, we were easily wowed by stuff because we were the first generation to grow up in technology. But kids today, they're not easily impressed by things. Like,
this is true.
Like, kids today are kids today have iPhones and Galaxy S whatever is out now and iPads, and Nintendo just doesn't see that. They don't pay attention to the market. Like, today's kids are playing the same games as today's adults.
Damn hippies.
Also, Nintendo does not embrace technology. Yeah, they got little gimmicky stuff, second screens on.
I disagree with that because it wasn't up until it wasn't up until recently that they didn't embrace technology.
Alex said earlier that if they could have had a little bit more power, used their resources more, because they're focusing on touch screens, blah blah blah. We had touchscreen phones for over 10 years now. What the fuck? Yeah, come on now.
And not only that, Nintendo got crapped on with freaking what was that? Freaking Smart Glass, because Smart Glass does the same thing that the touchscreen does. You know what I mean?
I disagree that Nintendo hasn't always embraced the technology. This is a recent phenomenon because if you go back, all of Nintendo's consoles were, up until the GameCube, the most powerful console on the market.
That is true.
Nintendo
SNES
was the most powerful. SNES was the most powerful. Nintendo 64 was more powerful than the PlayStation 1 and the Saturn. And then you had the GameCube more.
It didn't look it though. It did not look it.
The hardware was more powerful, but
because it was cartridge, it couldn't get. It didn't have as much. You didn't have the storage to take advantage of it.
But the hardware itself was more powerful than the Sega Saturn and the PlayStation 1. And the GameCube was more powerful than the PlayStation 2 and the original Xbox.
GameCube? But wasn't that like kind of later?
No, that's when it started. When it started. It was a little underpowered of the PS2.
No, it was more powerful than the PlayStation 2. Like, if you go back and read the specs line for line, it was more powerful than the PlayStation 2. But then after the GameCube, they realized that they needed to make some money. And because the Nintendo GameCube and the Nintendo 64 didn't do too well worldwide, and that's when they started with the underpowered console trend with the Nintendo Wii.
And then you see now, when you look at it, it's like, man, you know, if E3 existed during the Super Nintendo era, Genesis era, and all that, you know, Nintendo would be sky high right now, you know. But it's times have changed, and Nintendo has to change. And the lack of presentation for E3 kind of worries me because, you know, Playboy said it best. They're probably going to go the route of Sega eventually.
The funny thing about Nintendo is that they got the IP, they got the characters, they got the legacy to overtake PlayStation and Xbox. I mean, they have it there. They just won't do it. I mean, I don't know why.
They're trying to distinguish themselves,
and I respect that. I was getting ready to say that, and I kind of respect that. The way that they go about their first parties, and the way that they've gone. I mean, I don't agree with the way that they've handled the Wii U and all that stuff, but the way that they go about their first party franchises is pretty good because they don't get saturated. Of course, they do the same Marios over, not the same. But they have that Mario train. They keep playing it, but it's something that you don't see from any other company at all. So I mean, just imagine if they were to like really buckle down and do this mobile thing. Like I think they are going to show. I think they are going to show some mobile stuff at E3. Just imagine seeing some like Pokemon Red and Blue. If they just did Pokemon Yellow or Red or something on iPhones and Android. You know how much money they would make from that, like, and they choose not to do it. So I mean, I think Nintendo, like, they are the wild card, and I respect that. I'm not mad at it.
Well,
all right, but for the sake of time, we gotta start closing this one up. But yeah, final points before we get ready for the next segment.
Yeah, they did make that mobile deal, so I would expect them to have some mobile offerings to show. And given enough time, they'll do Pokemon on iPhone and Android. And they'll be, buy this one for $1, buy this one for 50 cents.
I can't wait for that. That'd be great.
Well, just to burst your bubble, they're not showing no Nintendo mobile games at E3.
Really?
Unbelievable. Well,
I told you that. Damn, Alex, shit. Fuck, man.
Yeah, Alex just stabbing right in the guts with the knife, like X-ray moves.
It's all good. All right, so Nelson, you can close up this segment. I gotta look at this phone real quick, but go.
All right.
You got this, man.
All right, guys. That's the end of this segment here. We're gonna close this one out, and we're gonna move on to the next one. If you guys haven't done it already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. You know, all of our social media. Go to newgamingoda.com to get the latest information feed about podcasting and topics that we do. For you live people, please stay on. We're not going anywhere. And for you YouTube folks, we're out. And I'm not saying Alex's quote because that's his.